So, there's been a lot of discussion and debate on what is socialism.
Socialism extorts money from the successful and gives it to the lazy.
Socialism is a system for making everything fair and everybody equal. And you can pretty well guess.
Socialism starts at 50, 60, 70%. It's never enough. There's always got to be more until they start taxing the producers 90% and things collapse.
That's what democratic socialism is. Mob rule. Mob rule Germans against the Jews.
Yeah, that's not it. And I know what you guys will say. Communism is the very definition of failure. Imagine a world in which Karl Marx had never been born. The government powerful enough to give you everything you want is the government powerful enough to release slave you. Communism, fascism, and socialism are all the same in principle. Anyone saying they are not is telling one of them. Fuck Karl Marx, hobo-looking ass. Okay, I gotta admit that shit was funny. Come on. This album is fucking funny. Come on. That's gay. Testicles, bro. Hold on. I think I can make my case here. Now, my liberal peers always bring up that socialism refers to government programs.
So what socialism means is the government does some things and the private industry does some things, right? So private industry does coke.
Whenever you get on a highway, drive over a bridge, use electricity from a dam, or go to a school or hospital, you're probably partaking in American socialism.
It hasn't worked out historically. But the strongest criticism of the philosophy is that communism removes the incentive.
Who has the answers? Who has the answers? Who has the answers?
All those morons saying that communism is the same as welfare, you can go leave because you are just an absolute moron.
Thanks, Comrade Cenable. Now let's get one thing clear. Socialism, I repeat guys, socialism is not government programs. Socialism simply refers to workers owning the means of production. What are the means of production? The means of production in the political context simply refers to the facilities and resources for producing goods. This may include instruments of labor such as hammers, machines, and so on, and subject of labor, which is the raw materials used to create said goods. In an industrial context, the means of production would refer to assembly lines and drills. In an agrarian one, gardens and shovels. And in a knowledgeable economy, computers and iPhones. The means of production basically comes down to how production is being done in an economy. But this is where we take socialism into account. What socialists simply want is power and ownership to transfer from the capitalist class to the working class. Now, you may ask what that entails, and many wonder what school of thought works for you, but let's stick to the basic concept of socialism. The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles. Freeman and slave, patrician and plebeian, lord and serf, guildmaster and journeyman. In a word, oppressor and oppressed stood in constant opposition to one another, carried on an uninterrupted, now hidden, now open fight. A fight that each time ended either in a revolutionary reconstitution of society at large or in the common ruin of the contending classes. These words were written by Marx and Engels. What they were simply saying was that the struggles of society at large come from the class system. Just by having different classes and a hierarchy, this would create conflicts of class interest. To break it down simply, what's good for the poor is bad for the rich, and what's good for the rich is bad for the poor. From 1846 and onwards, the struggle of class continues today. The Communist Manifesto by Marx and Engels was a product of the social conditions of the Industrial Revolution. Children as young as 4 years old worked under dangerous conditions. People worked for 12 hours a day with no weekend or holidays. The bosses at these factories even locked the door so workers couldn't leave. You even had debates on whether slave owners treated their slaves better than the northern industrialists in America. These words really resonated with the working class at the time. When the manifesto was written, Europe was transitioning to a new era. This was a ripe time for revolution now. Some cool folks in France would start the Paris Commune. The masses in Spain started their own revolution too. American socialists would start the union movements, and dank boys in Russia would have their own too. Many of these revolutions would begin, but end in bloodshed. Even in the American context, where we're supposed to have a 40-hour work week, many still work long hours yet are not able to meet their basic needs. People in the third world continue to be exploited. Our debts will eventually pass on to our children. Everyone under the system is having a hard time. This being said, let me end on a bright note. It is important to bring up, even in the bleak world of capitalism, there is still hope. Revolutions like Rojava, where Christians, Jews, and Muslims work together to fight ISIS, have sprung up. Bernie Sanders, although a social democrat, has been a gateway for liberals to become socialist. Every day, socialism is being normalized. This is a good thing. Socialism is not merely government programs, free college, free healthcare, all this and that, but it's more than that. Socialism is liberation of the workers and owning the means of production. As Marx wrote, the proletarians have nothing to lose but their toothbrushes, chains.